Welcome back to Cirrus. My name is Tia. The sun's kind of blinding, but I figured I would take this opportunity. I've had a couple of viewers ask me to do a video on sweetgrass, calling the sweetest spirits to honor us during this time. Yeah, I had a couple viewers write in and ask me to do a video on my take on the twin flame journey, or twin flames in general, I guess. Always remember that I'm not doing any, I'm not doing personal readings right now. I'm not asking for money or donations in the comments, or I don't have a WhatsApp account. I know, it's like a total broken record, but don't get scammed, you guys. That's not me. There's official PayPal in the description box and on the About tab. That's it. It's the only way you can contact me directly. Oh, okay, so Most High God, 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 Most High God. Just ask for this teaching to bless us on our spiritual journey, help us keep us grounded, make sure that all messages that you do not see fit to come through, do not come through, that they be blocked, or any message that we're just not ready to hear just as yet, or it's just not ready to be heard at this time. We just ask these things, and we just call on my guardian angels and my spirit guides, my whole spirit team, ancestors that have my highest and good and sweetest intentions possible. I'm highly, 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 highly protected, as are my viewers, and divinely, 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 divinely favored in Jesus' holy name. Amen. Okay, so I had some viewers write in asking me to do a video on my take of the twin flame journey. So if you've watched any of my videos as of yet, you probably, I'm not that woo-woo, you guys. I'm only one woo. So in part, that's because, I'm also a PhD student. I hope to be a college professor, though, rather than clinical psychology, where I'm doing therapy and stuff like that. But maybe that's a possibility in the future. So I probably try to stay pretty grounded. And spiritually open-minded, because there's a lot of things that you can learn and research about, and I encourage you to do that, because I really believe in spirituality, in concepts like this, like soulmates or twin flames, twin flame journey, kindred spirits, karmics, blah, blah, blah. Really, it's personal. I mean, just as mate selection, it's very, very personal, right? So, but I really challenge you to please try to stay really grounded, because it's a really, really hot trend right now to say, oh, it's my twin flame, the twin flame, I'm on the twin flame journey, my twin flame is healing. And a lot of it can become like an excuse for an abusive, toxic relationship. Or an obsession with, and that happens when it's not a twin flame, like an obsession with a person, or a fixation on a specific person, magical thinking. I have to think about that, like, in terms of like psychology, right? Like, if you're dealing with really any type of PTSD, CPTSD, like, I'm not a licensed psychologist, but you should really think about that. If you're dealing with childhood trauma, long-term abuse or anything, you can have that's one of the symptoms that can manifest is what they would call like magical thinking, right? And what do they call that? Limerick, which is like an involuntary response, Cupid's arrow or whatever they call it. These are things you should really be researching, though. I'm really grounding yourself, and thinking objectively. So just kind of a heads up, being spiritually open-minded. My take on that, though, is that I think it's a possibility. I mean, it goes back as far as Plato, ancient Greece, ancient Zen spirituality. A lot of people try to link it to the Book of Revelations in the Bible. The chosen ones, God's chosen ones in the Book of Revelations, which I've read those verses and you should too, the 144,000 chosen ones, and you should too, and decide what you think, But in reality, I think that if there is such a thing, it's very, very, very rare. And I know you're going to hear that everyone has a twin. It's your split soul. Every single one has a twin flame. But it's not guaranteed in this lifetime, right? And sometimes they're not manifested into the physical. They can be on the other side helping you, your twin flame, your other, like as a spirit guide or a higher self so, I mean, it's not guaranteed that you're going to be with your twin flame in this lifetime. Whether you believe in past lives or you don't, reincarnation or you don't, if you do, you could have already met and been with them on that side and completed your mission there, and you're doing something different. And that's a big part of it too, is they're always going to talk about being, well, everybody has a soul mission, or we wouldn't be here, wouldn't be breathing. That sun is driving me crazy, you guys. Or we wouldn't be breathing, you wouldn't be here. Your mission's not complete, or you wouldn't be breathing, And your twin flame has one too. And yeah, you're theoretically supposed to have one together, but that's after you come together in divine union. What's divine union? Well, I mean, the way I see it is you're supposed to heal. You got to do your work. You're supposed to heal. And you trigger each other for that purpose, right? Because that's what separation, that's the nature of the separation and the, but separation and union, right? Runner, chaser. Somebody's not healed if there's running and chasing happening. But that's true if it's not a twin flame. Sometimes that can be a karmic relationship. Let's talk about that. What's a karmic relationship? I don't like it when people are like, oh, that's my twin. It's like very, very pop culture right now. It's very trendy. Be careful. Be very, very, very discernful. Let's not make excuses for abuse. Let's not make excuses for magical thinking. Most times when people are really, really, really passionately in love with somebody, what they're talking about is a soulmate. Yeah. Where you're like, you're falling in love with each other. You're really passionate, and there can be a lot of obstacles that help you to heal, for sure, in coming together and things like that. But they're usually talking about a soulmate, where you validate each other, you plan a life together, you're on the same page with each other, you're passionately in love with each other. Okay, when you're in an unhealthy relationship, they call it a karmic, or a relationship that's only meant to last a certain phase of your life. They call that a karmic. But working out karma, healing, growing, right? Or a catalyst. We've heard that one too. A catalyst to take you from here to there, or a stand-in for your soulmate. You know, I mean, let's be careful with our magical thinking. But what really sucks about that is when you put those kind of labels, you're really like separating experiences into boxes, you know? And the reality of it is that life is fluid, energy is fluid. And, you know, a karmic or whatever, a really toxic karmic or whatever, is probably helping you heal as well. Doesn't have to be a twin flame or a soulmate. They're helping you heal in the sense that, I mean, if you really get into some ancient spirituality, I mean, like, marriage is really not about romantic love. I mean, anybody who's been, you know, I personally have never been married, but like anybody, you look at it, your parents, anybody who's been married knows that it's not 100% about, you know, passionate romantic love all the time. I mean, you know, a lot of times like a karmic or whatever relationship, I mean, sometimes people marry their karmics. A lot of times. I mean, you see how many people are divorced these days? You know, I mean, what is it, like 65% of marriages? So, I mean, what they're talking about though is like you can have a father wound. That's why sometimes you can have a really intense charge, an attraction you can't explain to somebody. Sometimes isn't a twin flame or a soulmate at all. Sometimes they are energetically, which I've had that happen to me, and I stayed in a relationship for far too long because of that, which I didn't know it at the time, right? But it's like this really intense attraction and charge that you can't explain. I think that a lot of times it's because they're vibrating with an energy that's more subconscious than it is conscious, that reminds you of the parent that you were most wounded by. You know, because marriage a lot of times is more about the family. It's not really about just you and your partner. It's about who's going to take. It's because that marriage, that's why a lot of times there was prearranged marriages, right? It's about collaboration and it's about, well, everything. I mean, you guys know. I don't have to explain that. But the problem why I'm talking about this, though, is the problem is that people are very romanticized by the twin flame journey. And I think it's one of the most difficult. I mean, like, I don't even know if you come into contact with your twin, if you have one in this life and on this plane. I don't know that you even come to it until you've kind of graduated some initiations. What do I mean by graduated some initiations is I think that you kind of have to be kind of doing your own inner work, because it's all about alchemy and like balancing your, like, I need to have my masculine and feminine energy balanced, and so does my partner or whoever that twin is. Not my partner, not a life partner, let's be clear, but your twin flame, like even if you haven't met them yet, they're just out there. They have to be ready too. They have to be ready too. You know, and very strange. My neighbor just like threw something over the balcony that's like cat hair or something. I don't know what that means, but anyway, super distracting. Sorry. No, but I really do believe that person has to be doing their work too. Usually one twin is further along than the other. And so this is where we kind of go back to, it's really, really, really indicative of really your spiritual awakening. Okay? Because your twin is theoretically your split soul. So this is your spiritual awakening. And twins are totally polarized. They're totally polarized. You can find so much about this. Just be super careful, because a lot of it's bullshit, you guys. You know, they're changing the world. We're going to create the new earth with our union. And, you know, a lot of it's a lot of magical thinking, and it's kind of pop culture and stuff like that. So be really careful. Stay really grounded. because it can be, you know, like people who have bipolar disorder or depression or PTSD or CPTSD, borderline, narcissist empath, you know, dynamics, it can really, so try to stay really, really grounded. Do a lot of research, but ultimately, you're going to have to decide for yourself, because there's positive and negative. And just because you have one or you met one doesn't mean that you're going to be together in this life in union. Sometimes in union just means that, because there's usually a really psychic telepathic bond in a twin flame dynamic. That can happen in really high level soulmates too, though. Mirror souls or whatever. So I would just be really, really careful, because it can be a teacher. You know, it can be, may not be a romantic partner, you know, but in most cases, it typically, yeah, I just don't fall into the line where it's like, oh, you know, and I've heard people say that, like, you know, my best friend is this. They're still talking about a soulmate. You can have multiple soulmates in your life that are not romantic, you know, like, I don't know, that's just my take on it. You know, people talk a lot about the 144,000 in the book of Revelations in the Bible being, speaking about the twin flames, you know, the 144 of God's chosen ones who will come together into union in the end times, and then they will rule with God. But there is only 144,000. So that's not a lot, you guys. And like, the only real twin flames I've met in real life, it's so freaking obvious. It's eerie, bizarre. And I don't mean like, look at that, like with their other half. No, they would still be talking about a soulmate. You know what I mean? This is like something where there's just something extremely odd. It's one of my mom's cousins, her, Barbara Ann, and her husband Les. They almost look like each other, and he actually is very feminine. They're in a heterosexual marriage, but he's extremely feminine and she's extremely masculine. Okay, you've seen that before. That's not something that unusual. No, this is odd. It almost is an alchemy when you're around them, and you may be psychically initiated or changed by it. So this is not, that's what they mean by changing the world by their gender. This is something really different than pop culture. So we have to be really, 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 really careful, because most time what they're talking about is soulmates or a life partner that they really, really, really have a really, really, really deep connection with, a romantic connection with. So ultimately though, I think that you should do your research. I think that you should be really, really careful, because there's a lot of BS out there about it. Get really, start really looking at like Zen spirituality. And definitely like ancient Greece talks a lot about it. There's even some pieces of it in like the Legend of Atlantis. So it's very ancient spirituality. So it's not New Age, woo-woo, but the New Age has embraced it and it's become pop culture. Oh, if if he doesn't want to be part of the union, you can just pick up another twin. No. Because if it is your real twin flame, your real twin soul, you only get one, honey. Because it's you. You're a split soul. And if you want to know more about that, I would start really looking at Zen spirituality, ancient Greece. Plato's written a lot about it. There is some prophecy of it in the teachings of the legend of Atlantis. There's a lot more to talk about, but I think some of the best that my take and my best advice that I could give you is do your homework, get out of magical thinking, stay grounded, make sure that, you know, because we've all done that. We all get a little crazy when we're in a really intense connection, right? But do not excuse toxic connections. Do not confuse the twin flame journey with the narcissistic empath, because there is going to be polarization, positive, negative, you know, outgoing, introverted. There's usually typically huge age differences, cultural differences, religious differences, personality styles, love styles, all of this. Yes, that's true. But that doesn't necessarily always make that person your twin flame. You know, there's a lot of times that there are, I mean, on a spiritual level, people come into our lives for a lot of reasons to help us heal and grow. Every person that you're in connection with is here to help you heal or grow. So to say that that's how you knew it was your twin, no, there's symptoms of it, and you should really look into it, because, I mean, they're really going to be really dramatic, obsessive thinking. And I don't mean obsessive thinking like when you have an outrageous crush or you're going through a breakup or you're like falling in love with. No, that's not what I mean. This is something different. It's usually with twin flames though really tied to your spiritual awakening. This is like, instead of let's for my personal, since it's my video, you can hear a million things, but since it's my video and I'm only one woo, let's stop calling it the twin flame journey and just start calling it my spiritual journey. But yeah, your twin or a high level mirror soulmate, yeah, they're going to trigger you like you've never been triggered before in your whole entire life. That's their job. And that's yours to them too. It is it's a spiritual connection. It's you mirrored back to you. Like, if you're female, that's you incarnate as a male. If you're male, that's you incarnate in a female form. It's polarized, right? So usually one twin is conscious of the connection and the other twin is unconscious. Yeah. They're still going to be dramatically drawn to each other, though, like magnets, you know, the polarization, like magnets. But that's where people start getting really confused with soulmates. Soulmates, though, you validate each other. Soulmates are not as intense. I know that soulmates are intense, but not like this. No. So I still, though, since it's my video, and I still believe, though, that you only get one. Not everyone gets one in this life. Yes, everyone has one, but they may have had them in a, whether you believe in reincarnation or you don't, past lives or you don't, or whatever, that's fine. But they might be on the other side right now, helping you as a spirit guide or as a higher self, or it does not mean, even if you did meet them here in the 3D in this life, that you are meant to be together, be married, or be in union, or whatever they want to say, right? But why are we hearing more and more and more about that right now? Because we are moving into the age of Aquarius. So the energy on the planet's changing, and it's prophesized. It's been prophesized. So, you know, it was prophesized that, you know, between 2022, well, actually, 2012 was the kicking off, you know, of that energy starting to all come together, starting to change on the planet. So 2012 was a big time, and 2020 was huge. And, you know, energy's moving. So, but it's been prophesized that between 2022 and 2024, a lot of twins are going to come together. What that means is something we're going to wait and see. Yeah. So, do I think it's linked to the 144,000 in the Bible? Maybe. Maybe not. I mean, you should read it and see what you think. You know, it's in the book of Revelation. Do your research. But please, you know, make sure that you're grounding yourself and you're being grounded. That it's not magical thinking. It's not pop culture talking. Because especially if you get into those, like, that kind of stuff, like with narcissists and empaths, can distort your thinking. Okay? So you have to be really careful with stuff like that. If somebody's abusing you or cheating on you or mistreating you, you know, leaving you, coming back, going back and forth, on and off like that, that doesn't necessarily mean that's your twin flame. Just because that type of behavior can create, I mean, really you start looking into like classical, you know, psychological conditioning, because it's really found that type of conditioning actually creates more of an obsession, like with the you know, like the rats, experiments with rats and stuff like that. Like that type of like inconsistency like that, push-pulls type stuff, you know, control tactics like that, it actually can trigger and create an obsession that's not organic at all. So you have to be really careful. That's not your twin flame, honey. That's just some mentally or emotionally abusive person that you need to get rid of. You need to get help to do that sometimes, to like be able to think clearly. Childhood wounds, mental illnesses can trigger us to have what's called magical thinking or limerick. Look this up. This is serious, you know. But the twin flame collective, or whatever you want to call it, I'm just calling it a spiritual journey because, but yes, it's something that only you will know after you've kind of filtered through a lot of other stuff, right? Stay grounded though. Don't get caught up into the hype. It's trendy now. People are saying it now. Why? Because it's been prophesized that twin flames are going to come into union in the age of Aquarius, which we're in now. Yeah. Okay. So if you have any questions or anything you want to add, please drop a comment into the comment section below the video, or you can email me if you're not comfortable with that. My email address is in the description box below the video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, you guys. It really, really helps me. I do a lot of different types of energy reads and stuff on the channel. If there's anything you want to add, comment. I'd love to hear it. Hey, so I'm just going to pull a few twin flame oracles from the lovely Mystic Moon. Just get a message to bless our little talk today. Yeah, don't get scammed. I'm not doing personal readings or anything like that. I know I'm like a broken record, but man, they're not in full force, you guys. YouTube's like the wild, wild west these days. Don't get scammed. The only way to send me a donation is in the description box below the video. Or there's an about tab. Ooh. I don't. There we go. I'm not going to take that. feel like that was weird. And now I have the sun just beaming. Yeah, it's definitely something that you're going to have to discern for yourself, right? It's personal. Doubt is one of the hugest doubt. You know, because there's people out there, you can't convince them. It's my twin flame, blah, blah, blah. But you know what? A lot of times that's that immediately cues me off where I'm like, that's really sappy and strange to me. See, I'm saying I'm not really like that. Like, I'm even like not sure about soulmates sometimes. I mean, do we meet people that we have way more intense connections with? Absolutely. Or 99.99.9 of them, 9% of them, people kind of being overly romantic and woo-woo. Yes. If you haven't catch that from my take on this from the beginning of this video, yes. It's immature, it's woo-woo, it's magical thinking, it's not usually very grounded, you know? But do I think they're a real thing? Yes. No, I don't know. Sometimes it's difficult, right? It's supposed to be the other half of your soul. And I'm thinking, but I'm a sovereign being. And I'm nothing like those people. Like, I'm totally authentic and unique. But I don't think that's what it means. I think it's just a different... You're still vibrating on a soul level. On a soul level. With the same frequency, which is why the Lord wants to bring the masculine and feminine same frequency together for something that God's going to do on the planet during the age of Aquarius. Okay? Do I think that's true? It's possible. Is it kind of woo-woo? Yes. And probably highly misunderstood, right? Definitely pop culture right now. Please be careful. Do not get caught in some toxic, ugly relationship. You don't have time for that. Yeah. But one thing that the twin flame, if there is one that teaches us, is about cycles. So cycles in our personal growth, cycles of life, cycles of a connection, cycles on the planet. Yeah. Some of those cycles bring a lot of destruction. So like in the tarot, this would be like the Tower card. Bring a lot of destruction. Because that's to tear a lot of this. Like, that's what you and your twin will do to each other. If you are in true connection with a twin. That doesn't mean you're in union, but true connection. If you really have met your twin, there can be a lot of destruction. Why? How could that be? Because sometimes things are not built on a solid foundation and they have to be ripped all the way down. Yeah, like actually when you meet your twin, even go through, say meet your twin, but when because what it does is it triggers your spiritual awakening. Spiritual awakening is tough stuff, you guys. It brings a lot of destruction. It tears down old structures, the belief systems, and sometimes marriages, sometimes families, sometimes jobs, careers, ways of thinking and being, and all your belief systems that you had before, religious beliefs, spiritual beliefs. So it comes in cycles. Your spiritual awakening comes in cycles. So I'm going to call this your spiritual journey, because people say it's twin flame journey, but I call it spiritual journey because it's a spiritual relationship, okay? A spiritual connection. And those have cycles, separation. Spiritual growth comes in cycles, okay? Because some of those cycles include destruction, tearing stuff apart. So ego death, yeah, and in this, in your spiritual journey, divine timing's involved. Yeah. You meet them, because it's all these things are going off in your body, your chakras are lighting up, and all of this, right? Which can create a lot of destruction, but everything is in divine timing. Everything's in divine timing. Your spirit, you waking up, honey, wasn't by mistake. It was totally planned before your soul came to this planet. Okay, before you incarnated here. What you were gonna, when you were gonna be born, when you're gonna die, when you're gonna come into your spiritual journey, your spiritual awakening, when you're gonna meet your twin, when you're gonna, okay? Divine timing's at play here. And so there can be a lot of solitude. And it's needed for healing because of this kind of crap, right? And trying to figure this crap out. What the frick's going on? Yeah? Yeah. But what it eventually does, once you move all this crap out of the way, and it's in the right timing when God decides, not when you decide, but when God decides, right? And you've gone within, you had some solitude and gone within, it raises your vibrations. Charges your energy, it raises that energy, it brings you to ascension. It's your spiritual journey. It's ascension. And once you get here is when you draw your spiritual family. Which can create, this is going to say spring, but what it's really talking about is renewal. It's talking about rebirth. You're going to change. When you go through a real spiritual awakening, you're not even going to look like or seem like the same person on the other side. Because you're not going to be. You're going to be reborn. A twin flame is your mirrored soul. You can have that even with a high level soulmate too. So that's why you really want to have the destruction, move all that crap, the garbage, your wounds, all that baggage you're dragging around with you all the time, negative energy you're dragging around with you, addictions, partners, like wounds, that's why you want that to blow out. That's why you need to trust in divine timing, and that's why your energy needs to be up. You need to go within to do that, to draw your spiritual family that can support you through this stuff, because hey, this stuff is tough stuff, you guys, but you will be reborn from it. And that, my point of it is if you're reborn, if you've done your work and you're reborn, your twin flame, if there is one, and you have one in this life, right? But I do believe there's divine counterparts, okay? But if you do, they're going to mirror you. That's why you want to be reborn when they come, because then they need to be reborn too, or they will, because you're mirroring each other, because we're polarized, remember? So yeah, and you guys will recognize each other. There'll be recognition. When you're mirroring each other, that's how you recognize. That's how you'll recognize each other. But a lot of times, one partner, a lot of times is married. or in a commitment or living on the other side of the world, or there's usually some huge reason that you can't, even if you recognize each other, and it can create a lot of grief. Yeah. But even the grief creates understanding, right? And your twin will always return to you, even if it's on the other side, you guys. Yeah. Yeah. I hope you guys got something out of the video today. I'd had a few viewers, write in wanting me to kind of give my take on it. I might maybe do other videos like this in the future, but what do you guys think? You believe in twin flames? Have you met your twin flame? Or are you just crazy obsessed and in love, having limerick, magical thinking? Hey, we've all done it, right? Love at first sight? I don't know. There's lust at first sight. There's limerick at first sight. And sometimes we can just admire people deeply. Love ya. You're amazing. What do you guys think? Send me some emails. Drop me some comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, you guys. It really, really, really does make an enormous difference. I'm so glad that you guys keep coming and looking at the videos. Please subscribe. It helps to get the videos in circulation, and I really, really appreciate all of your support. Give me some feedback. What do you think of this video? Until next time, be blessed, you guys.